Today, we'll be reviewing a podcast called The Fighter and the Kid. This is a suggestion from Dukes. We have all listened to the show separately. We have not discussed it with each other beforehand. Let's get into it. This is a very popular show hosted by Brendan Schaub and Bryan Callen. And I was familiar with this show. It's been suggested for years, but I've never really checked it out until this week. I was a little surprised at just how boring this show is.
It's not just that it's boring, because look, there's a lot of podcasts. There's millions of them, right?
Yeah.
It's not that it's a boring show. It's boring, and Brendan may be the stupidest person to ever be in this meeting. And look, we've had some dumb people, right?
Yeah.
Probably one of the dumbest people to ever do it. He's the dumbest person to ever, quote unquote, succeed in comedy or in podcasting.
Yeah, I have to say this particular episode, because we goof on these guys all the time, so we've watched a lot of clips. This, even for them, was an egregiously bad episode. It was very boring.
You know what it sounded like to me? So they didn't have any guests on for this episode we listened to. It sounded like two guys who were obligated to make a show. They didn't have anything to talk about. Let me play an example. So Bryan Callen is a comedian. And I assume this is supposed to be a comedy show because, as you mentioned, Brendan Schaub is also a quote-unquote comedian. This is Bryan just talking about his 11-year-old daughter. This is the type of conversation that if you were at work, you'd walk away from the person.
And my daughter's 11, and she takes care of the 8-year-old.
Yeah,
She becomes mom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's incredible. We're in the airport. She's like, Finn, hurry up. What are you doing? You're taking too long. Put your bag on. Look both ways. She just is a mom.
Weren't you in Kansas City?
Well, I was in Utah. And then I went to Omaha and then came back
for
to
Friday,
Utah.
Saturday.
Yeah. But she watches him on the slopes, everything, because they were skiing. They were in ski school.
Oh, gotcha.
But she's like, hold my pole. She takes him up to she's just amazing.
He's literally talking about how proud he is of his kids.
It sounds like every conversation an Uber driver hears.
Yes. It's not a show.
If I had kids too, though, I would be super proud of them. I also wouldn't leave them, but I would also be proud of them.
Yeah, that's the thing with Bryan Callen. He's Mr. Father Figure, but he's always around. He's always out, and as we say on this show, they're always out crushing puss. Because when they got mad at us, they said that we don't have enough sex. Like, you have to understand, this show is what happens when jocks age. You know, like jocks are cool in high school, you know? But then eventually they turn into Al Bundy. And it's just this, yeah, man, you know, first off, Finn, really? Your kid's name is Finn? You're not Hollywood famous enough to have a weird name. Like, I think you have to reach a certain level of fame in Hollywood to name your kid so weird.
Yeah, definitely.
I set you guys up by playing that clip. I play a clip where he's just talking about he's proud of his daughter, and all of a sudden you guys know the whole fucking story about this guy's parenting skills. That's hilarious.
Well, you know, just be around, I would say, step one, right? As a dad.
Yeah, just be around.
Just be around. Don't be out crushing puss. Don't lose custody. You know, just basic things like that.
You mentioned that Brendan Schaub is very dumb, and I believe you said unfunny, or at least you were about to. Here's an example of Brendan telling a joke.
No, it's all,
You're already
a
giant.
Yeah, I know. I'm on that carnivore diet, Corona diet.
I guess because it started with a C, he thought that would be funny.
Look, and we say this with all due respect. This man has to have CTE. Like,
yeah,
the level of disconnect, like the things that I know that we're probably just going in really hard at first, but like I said, we've listened to so much of their stuff. He has a childlike mind of what comedy is. Like, things that are kind of phonetically pleasing to him are equivalent to a George Carlin joke, or Carlton as he calls him.
They talk about near the end of the episode that Saved by the Bell is having a reunion show. And so for that reason, they start talking about Screech. And they bring up the fact that Screech does stand up, and Brendan's not a big fan.
No, I thought, isn't that Screech? Screech did porn.
It's confusing.
And then he got arrested
Screech
and
did
stabbed.
porn?
But yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Disturbing.
He does stand up.
He does.
He also did porn.
What?
He just stand up like Charlie Sheen did stand up.
So I thought it was interesting because I wasn't going to talk about Brendan's stand-up comedy, but he's ripping on Screech from Saved by the Bell for being bad at stand-up comedy. So I have to play a clip. This is from his Showtime special. This is a UFC fighter trying to tell jokes. The setup is that he saw Hulk Hogan's sex tape. And get ready for the big punchline that comes from this.
And I'm 22 minutes into this thing. Yeah, 22 minutes sitting on my couch with my cock in my hand. And I start arguing with myself. I go, bro, you owe it to Hulk Hogan to jack off to a sex tape. Yeah. All the years of entertainment that he's provided to you and your shitty friends, the least thing you can do is jack off to a sex tape. I'm all, I hear you, man. I hear you, no disrespect. I don't know who the fuck this is. That's Terry Bolley. That's his government name. I don't know Terry. I need some sort of sign that this is vintage Hulk Hogan. I don't know what the hell's going on right now. Then I get my sign at minute 27, if you're counting. Minute 27. His cricket flip phone goes off. It's the least of his concerns these days. But his cricket flip phone goes off in the middle of this dick suck, and he looks down and goes, oh shit, my phone's ringing. Flip, it's my son, Nick. What's up, brother? I'm like, oh shit, what's up, brother? Yes!
I look, first of all, what is it about Hulk Hogan's brother that would make you calm? That's very weird to me. Secondly, the Hulk Hogan sex tape gave birth to so many memes and so many jokes and had such fallout.
Yeah.
That was the depth that Brendan Schaub scraped. Like, you couldn't make a good joke. Like, I watched the Hulk Hogan sex tape and it had more N-bombs in it than a Tarantino film. Like, that would have been a good joke. Something.
And you know,
I don't want him touching my daughter, dude.
And that's the other thing too. It's like he does these impressions. You think he's the real people. Like, his impressions fucking terrible, right?
I don't want my daughter burning coal, brother.
That
and
clip I played you was 80 seconds long just to set up for the brother joke, and I went 3/4 into the setup for that. That was a very long bit that he has for that punchline.
And you know, it's funny because, listen, if you heard that, let's say it's not Brendan, if you heard that joke, you could forgive it if it was somebody at, at a Wednesday night at the fucking Chuckle Hut, right? Or at the Improv, working out their material. This guy, just because he's Joe Rogan's friend, and I don't want anybody to fucking tell me any different, just because he's Joe Rogan's friend, got a pinnacle with probably 99% of comics strive for, which is a Showtime special. Like, every comic wants a Showtime special or HBO special, whatever.
Yeah.
He got it because he's Joe Rogan's friend. It is unearned. There is no reason for him to be there. And every time we bring it up, you're jealous. No, I'm not jealous, but the audacity of him to shit on Screech, whether Dustin Diamond's comedy is good or not, at least he was in the fucking industry.
That's what the funny part is.
At dollars to donuts that if I went to both the Brendan Schaub show and a Screech show, I would laugh more at Screech.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Hands down.
Yeah. Hear about his stories banging Jesse and shit? Of course.
We all thought it was funny that Brendan Schaub was going to try stand-up comedy, but now who's laughing? No one.
That's the thing. It's not only that, because you hear stories, when you really go into it, you hear stories of how the comedy game in LA is so fucking gay, Everybody's afraid to upset Rogan. So if you're Rogan's friends, even if you're terrible, people lie to this guy. Like, Brendan is like a hot chick at a party where her stories are boring. Nobody really wants to talk to her, but you're going to lie to her because, maybe you'll get a blowjob. Mm-hmm. That's what Brendan is. People lie to him. And the Comedy Store, for example, has very limited parking. You hear the stories. People won't tell you who they are, but they're out there. There's spots where only the veteran comedians get a park up front. Brendan came in after only doing it a couple months, and he started taking the spots in his fucking little sports cars because he's friends with Joe Rogan. And when you mentioned earlier, and I thought it was a really good point, when you mentioned earlier that it sounds like just people doing a show to make money. Brendan also does a show with Theo Vaughn, the King and the Sting, too, right?
Yep.
And Chris, and they edit their podcast a lot. And Chris D'Elia even called it out to the effect of like, you guys, he said the same thing. Like, you guys, this is just a cash grab for you guys. You guys are just doing this to make money. And they actually cut that out of the show. Somebody grabbed it from a subreddit, but they cut it out of the show. That's what it is. It's putting it's LA, this LA podcast scene is basically just quantity over quality. If you put enough stuff out there and you run enough on it and MeUndies ads, it's money coming in. It doesn't matter if it's funny.
No, there's times in the show, because I was watching the YouTube video too. I think it's a YouTube show more so than it is a podcast. So yeah. I'll give it a pass on some of these things. But there are times when Brendan's just on his phone texting with people. He's not even paying attention on his own show.
Oh, Bryan too. Bryan is notorious for that. I was watching him time and time again. Like, it's like you said, these are two guys that just saw some money. They got together. They're like, we'll just do a show together. And it's just two guys that they look like guys that went to college together that haven't seen each other in 20 years.
Yeah.
And they're awkwardly catching up with each other. And they both have kids now and stuff. So you're like, yeah, so how you been? Yeah, no, I've been good. Sorry, just had to check my phone. You know, the kids now.
I hate older. That's a perfect assessment, because I hate how playful they are with each other. Like they're best of buds. On this episode in the beginning, Bryan announces that he's going to wear Crocs. I'm talking about the shoes, Crocs, on the show the next time they record. And of course, Brendan's having none of that.
I wanted to come in Crocs today.
Don't do it, man.
I have a right to do it.
I'm punch you in the honey hole.
Nope, I have a right to do it, and I'm going to do it, I think.
See what happens when you do it, dude. I'm going to take those things. I'm going to pin you down.
Try.
I'm going to pin you down. I'm going to slap that honey hole around a little bit.
Don't slap my honey hole, because that's where I really draw the line.
And I'm going to slap your honey hole around a little bit. No. I'm going to take those Crocs, and there's a dumpster out front here. I'm going to throw them in there.
Don't you dare.
I'm telling you, don't wear them, dude.
Listen to me right now.
You've been warned.
Okay. So that's the big setup. And by the way, this honey hole joke that Brendan says 1,000 times during this episode, it's because they watched some gay porn video right before they filmed the show where they were like anally fisting each other.
Yeah, he was showing him a video, and I actually have that in my notes here. Brendan was obsessed with the term honey hole. He said it so many times, I want to kill myself. This is what I wrote as notes. At like 11 at night watching this episode, and he beats a fucking premise into the ground. He doesn't stop. He says honey hole.
It didn't
5,000 times.
It didn't get a chuckle the first time. I don't know why he held on to it. Here's an example of that. As they're talking about this big bet they have on an upcoming fight.
Dude, when Stylebender beats Romero, I want cash. I'm going to punch you in your fucking honey hole, dude.
Well, my honey hole won't be there.
What?
My honey hole won't be there. My footwork's stupid now.
What are they even fucking talking about? And they're not even excited to talk about it. It's not as if they're trying to sell it. They're not even trying to sell it that this is entertaining or funny. They sound like they're depressed.
It does. It sounds like two guys trying to run out of clock.
Yes.
Like they're looking at the clock. They're going, we need to do it this long of a show to get this many live reads in later. That's what it is. That's all it is. These don't sound like guys that are happy to hang out. And they don't. Look, I'm not saying that, truth be told, that our show sometimes doesn't get unfocused and stuff like that. Of course it does, right? We always try to have a good time. We're always trying to joke around. There's no point to their show. They don't go anywhere with it. It's just guys sitting down on lazy boys, just kind of just going, hey, you punch your honey hole, huh? You punch your honey hole? What about your honey hole? Come on, man. There's no quips. There's no playful banter. And that's why we go to this, because Mike brought this up the other day on our show, and it's like, look, hating Brendan is really easy, right? Because Jesus Christ, does he make it easy?
Yes.
You know? But Bryan Callen, after listening to plenty of this, may be worse out of both of them.
I hate him worse.
Yeah, well, why is it you hate him worse?
Because he should know better. Like, he doesn't have brain damage. And because he should have had a career. Like, he shouldn't, like, he was in Mad TV before anyone else had a career. He shouldn't be Rogan's bitch boy. He shouldn't be carrying water for Brendan Schaub. He's egregiously worse. There's a reason why you feel bad for the retard from Of Mice and Men, because he's retarded. You know what I mean? That's just the way it goes.
I think that sums it up well.
But Bryan Callen is of sound mind and body. You should absolutely despise him worse.
Mike, I totally agree. I've only listened to one episode of this podcast, and I hated Bryan more. And I never had any issue with this guy going into this. But let me just play you examples of his jokes, quote unquote, because they're talking about the coronavirus. And he says, I used to have a joke in my stand-up. Please tell me what the joke is here.
That's why I used to do a joke about that, which is just an indictment on human beings. If 1 billion people died, it'd be horrible. But if it was no one you knew and they were way over there, you wouldn't miss work over it.
Oh, that's going on. I mean, that's every day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I get the setup, but what was the punchline?
Genocide's hilarious.
I love that he's clipping everything I had an issue with.
That's
like every time he plays a clip, I'm like, oh, that's in my notes. Yeah, I wrote that like 30 minutes in. Bryan tries to be deep. If 1 million people died, it's tragic. But like, if 1 million people die far away from you, you don't miss work.
Yeah, seriously.
Whoa, that's deep.
Bryan talks like a Facebook meme.
He really does. It's like smoking pot in middle school, the friend of yours.
Yeah.
Bro, it's like, 9/11 was tragic, but like, that many people die every day in India, man.
Yeah,
like, all right, thank you, bro.
That's what happens. That's what happens with these. This is
but I don't care because they're Indians.
I call this the Joe Rogan effect. All of these comedians now, the Rogan community, all want to be Rogan, right? Where they all want to be the deep guys.
Yeah.
Where they all want to be like, yeah, man, like I'm a comic, but you know what? I'm a truth teller. It's like, shut up.
It's like, no, you're not. You're a pot smoking closeted homosexual who does Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Exactly.
It's not fucking. It's really, you're not any of these things. The other issue I have too, and I actually wrote this in my notes. It's back a little bit from this, but 25 minutes in, right? They're talking about Bryan getting hair plugs.
Yeah.
And they pull up a website, and there's this like sleazy LA looking, plastic surgeon guy. And Bryan's like, fucking hate that guy, man. I don't know what it is, but I fucking hate him. And Brendan's like, why? Why do you hate him? He's like, literally sitting next to Brendan Schaub, being who he is, no self-awareness. He goes, I don't know, man. I just hate that guy. I hate vanity in men. No self-awareness.
What?
I was fucked, though. You don't understand. I wanted to fight the Who Are These Podcast guys for making us watch this episode. It was like 11 at night, and I'm like, I want to fight somebody right now. Like, I actually want to fight somebody for having witnessed that.
I want to go back real quick to the Croc gag. So he threatens that he wants to wear Crocs, and of course, Brendan Schaub's not going to have that. The very next episode starts off with Bryan walks into the studio wearing Crocs, and of course, it's already been announced that he's going to get his honey hole punched or whatever the fuck they do. And instead, what happens is, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Bryan pulls his pants down and puts his penis into the face of Brendan Schaub. Here's what the audio of that sounds like.
So here we are.
What are you doing?
I'm wearing Crocs. What are you going to do
What
about
I
it?
tell you? What I tell you?
What are you going to do about it?
What I tell you if you
What are
wear
you going to do
Crocs?
about it? Huh?
What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do about it? What now? What now? What now? What now? What now? What now? Huh? What now? Here you go. Here you go. Those are my balls. I bulldog my nuts. Now, shut the fuck up. Now you're a tough guy? Now you're a tough guy?
No.
Well, then what's going on?
Get your
Now you're a tough guy. What happened? Yeah, exactly. Don't fuck around. Hey, all right?
These guys have that frat boy being gay is funny mentality. It's like, oh, it's funny because it's gay, right? Like, you put your penis in somebody's face, it's not funny. There's nothing funny about that.
And look, again, and remember, fucking Bryan Callen's 50.
Yeah, 50 something, yeah.
50 something, and Brendan Schaub is 36, 37, something to that
like
effect. It's of course that right there. They never look at my dick, but it's also they don't even know how to make a bit sound natural. Like the very beginning of that bit is so telling. What are you doing? Are you wearing Crocs?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna take my feet out.
That was their fifth take at it.
Premise is kind of like weak to begin with, because why is Brendan having an issue with him wearing Crocs when Brendan wears black guy sneakers, he wears capri pants, and he wears fucking lip gloss? Like, who is he to speak to anyone You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if he's MMA guy and he can beat me up. If he goes, bro, you wear Crocs, I'm gonna stick it in your honey hole, and I go, yeah, you're wearing lip gloss and capri pants. It looks like you want to stick it in my honey hole. I get it.
Brendan Schaub dresses like Rihanna at a Lakers game.
So after he pulls his pants down and shoves his penis in the guy's face, they have Chris Stefano on there. He sends a dick pic to Brendan for some reason, and then they all start talking about each other's penises.
Not a bad dick, dude.
No, not at all.
Dude.
I was impressed.
Hold on. This kid's got a fucking piece on him.
I got a hog.
I mean, I'm very impressed with that.
But it's long.
It's
Well,
a
it's
long
also
dick.
got some girth.
It's long.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yours is girthier for sure. I'm
wonder.
somewhere in the middle of you two.
I don't know. I'm
It's
impressed.
like my dick looks like your dick's had babies.
Stefano's got a piece on him.
Dude, I told you,
It's not
I
bad
got
at
a
all.
little bit of a hog.
But
Chicks dig 'em.
a solid 8 inches.
Where is the joke? It's just an unironic discussion of dicks.
Yes!
Like,
Thank you!
it sounds like they all have each other's dicks in each other's hands. Can I? Oh, let me try it. Oh, let me try it. Like, you ever see like guys at the gun range and they're looking at each other's guns?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it feels like. Oh, let me get a look at that. Oh, what kind of ammo do you use in this thing? Am I right? Like, oh, it's
Well, it also sounds like they're doing that thing where it's like, you know, it'd be really funny is if I put your balls in my mouth and then I sucked on your balls and then I reached around and gave you a hand job. Look at this. Look at how funny this is. You're like, all right, it's no longer funny when you're just being gay. It's just gay.
Well, how funny would it be if we're just like, I don't know, like suck each other's dicks or something? It'd be funny, like as a goof.
Yeah, just as a goof.
It is. Again, keep in mind, look, it's still gay, but I understand, like, 20-something-year-old jocks farting around. Hey, look how gay I am. I'm going to take my muggle streaking. These are men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that are doing this. They should be working on their 401ks, and they're taking their dicks out and still think it's funny. Like, there's been no evolution in their minds. They're just these jocks, and it's not funny when you're doing it stops being funny when they sound like they're turned on.
Right. And I feel like I'm on the bus on our way to a road game. Like this, you're just with the football team at this point. I'm not in on the joke with, oh yeah, I saw this guy's dick. He just sent me a text with a picture of it. He did? That's fucking weird. I have more penis talk here. Here's another clip where they're talking about
Thank God.
penis enlargement.
I didn't want to hear
Got
it.
a baby dick?
Got a baby dick.
It's so embarrassing.
I know.
Yeah, penis enlargement surgery now is a nightmare. Because they just snip like so it like extends just a little bit, but it's not good.
Yeah, they cut a tendon or something. Get the fuck out of
I'm
here.
out.
No.
Costs anywhere from $5 to $10 grand. That's how you know it's not good.
These guys know a lot about penis enlargement surgery. If you asked me what the procedure was, how much it costs, I have no idea. This guy brings it up. He's just like, oh yeah, I know how they do that. They do this, they do that. Yeah, it's like $5,000. Like, okay, so you've looked into this a lot. You've done a lot of research on this.
It's any kind of, that's the thing. This that LA mentality. Any of that vanity stuff, any of the vanity surgery, hair plug stuff, any of that shit. These guys, of course, know all about it because they've had friends have done it. This is what, and people get mad sometimes when we say, but this is what LA comedy is now. This show is a good microcosm of LA comedy is now. It's dudes that think they're movie stars that just do the gayest things and go, we're fucking around. We're just fucking joking around. But I know exactly how much a dick surgery costs, though.
Right.
It is really, really odd. Like the whole thing, the entire Rogan crew really is a fucking in the closet type situation. A lot of overcompensating, a lot of MMA, a lot of rolling around on the mats, a lot of like, let's suck each other's dicks as a goof, right? How funny would it be if, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing something right and I sneak up and I I sniff your ass. It'd be funny, right? Like gay guys do that kind of shit, like a bunch of fags, right? What funny would that be? And you're like, not that funny. Actually, it's starting to get uncomfortable. Everything they do is like, what if we like grabbed each other's dicks as a goof?
But then the funny part is these two, both of them, Callen and Brendan, these two fucking dick showing homos, when they go on Rogan's show, Callen's like, yeah, man, but like, I just think that the CIA is just doing some fucked up shit to this country, because I was looking at the economics. I'm like, you can't be both.
Right.
You can't be deep thinking guy and takes his dick out and sticks him in Croc's guy.
It'd be funny if they're like, yeah, man, it's like the government for sure. They're using a special beam to make me suck my friend's dick. It's really weird, dude. I don't know what it is, but I think it's the CIA that makes me suck my co-host's dick over and over again.
That would be Eddie Bravo's take on it. Eddie Bravo would come in and be like, I don't even want to suck dick, and I keep sucking dick.
Bro, I get up every morning and I start sucking a dick. All right, Eddie, I get it. But like,
Out of the whole crew, though, I'll be honest with you, because I've said this to Mike before, Eddie Bravo probably bothers me the least.
Oh, he's great. I love Eddie Bravo.
Because but exactly, he bothers me the least because he is who he is. Like, there's no mystery behind Eddie Bravo. He's a fucking lunatic that thinks the earth is flat, and he'll defend himself about it, and he'll yell at you about it. And it's like, all right, you know what? I respect him. He's not putting on fucking show like Brendan is. Like, Brendan inside his brain is a little child that I don't think he ever. You can tell the way he acts. Like you said earlier, he repeats jokes over and over and over again. He's just trying to fit in. Like all of Brendan's jokes when he's hanging out with other comedians are always like, hey, look at me. Hey, dad. Hey, dad. Hey, dad. Hey, dad, look at me.
Oh, I have an example of this, what you're talking about. He says something that other people didn't know, and he has to rub it in for some reason.
Tyson doesn't fuck around.
You guys didn't know this, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, you guys didn't know that, huh?
No. Oh my God.
Who the fuck talks like that except for a little kid? Oh, you didn't know that? I knew that. You didn't know that? Oh, I knew that. Why didn't you know that? I knew that. Like, okay, whatever. Who cares?
Like, let him have his fucking victory lap.
Right.
This guy really know anything.
He
You know
doesn't
what I
know.
mean?
He doesn't.
Seriously.
He doesn't. He gets all his knowledge from Netflix documentaries that he half watches while he's falling asleep on the couch.
Yeah, if you suddenly had $1 million, you'd probably show it off to people. It's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah. And you know what really bothers me about the show is that they always have these designer shoes on the table, like they're showing them off.
Yeah, bro, they're sneakerheads, dude. They're cool.
Fucking,
So they're into the cool hip culture.
40 years old and you're a sneakerhead. Should be.
You know how many pairs of sneakers I own? 2. I own a good pair and a shitty pair, right? Shouldn't that be every man should own one good pair of sneakers that you could wear somewhere, and then a shit pair that you go running in, or you just run to the fucking store in?
The whole video seems like a commercial for sneakers. It's the only thing I noticed while watching it. I don't know if that's why they don't do jokes, because that would distract you from the sneakers.
No. The reason you don't notice it is because the sneakers have personality.
It's the only thing popping off the screen on the fucking sneakers.
Exactly.
I love that you're talking about their vanity, because it's fucking through the roof. And
He brought it up. I wrote it in my 25 minutes. Man, I hate vanity in men. I can't stand that. I was like, I'm gonna kill Royce. I'm gonna kill the guys who are these podcasts, and then flying to LA. I'm killing those two and their producers.
Then he unironically says this.
He's got the biggest ego on the planet.
Who are these fucking people to judge someone for having an ego? At one point, Brendan is watching a video. So they do a lot of watching other videos while they're doing their video. He's watching a video of himself, which I think is an awesome format. It's great.
We would never do that on
what are these guys? You can't make your own stuff up?
Yeah, we do our own bit. We want anybody to know. If you ever
guys?
tune into Revenge of the Sis, we're never just watching other people's videos.
Yeah, you can't make your own content. By the way, that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to come on the show.
I immediately liked these guys when I heard that.
2 reasons I wanted to come on this show. Number 1, because E-Rock is my good friend, and he said, you got to be on this show.
Yes.
So shout out to E-Rock.
Thank you, E-Rock. Yep.
E-Rock is the fucking best. And number 2 reason, you literally said the same criticism that we get all the time. Hey, you can't make your own jokes up? You got to play other people's shit?
Yeah, that was immediately when I started liking you guys, when you were like, yeah, I guess these guys, they watch other people, and they were making fun of them, and one of you guys was like, oh, what, they can't come up with their own content? They just got to make fun of everybody else? I'm like, okay, I like these guys.
I love that argument. These guys have zero content. If they tried to just do a show on their own, it would suck. It's like, that's all we do, is it? All right. So here is them watching a video, and this is great because Brendan Schaub is watching a video that's starring Brendan Schaub. And this is like retard inception. It's him watching himself and complimenting how many views the video has.
Is that
Trying
right?
to prove a point, yeah.
Oh.
Did you see Whitaker hit him at all?
No, I did not.
Nope.
I did not.
Almost 1 million views. Not
This
a big
last
deal.
I think I can validate with numbers, you're the biggest star the UFC has right now.
So that was Brendan watching Brendan ask a question to an MMA fighter. This show is literally just hanging out with guys who are surfing the internet. There are long stretches where they're not even talking about anything. They're just reading web pages. They're scrolling through pages. I actually have an example. They're watching the weigh-in for this fight that's coming up. And this is them watching a video. And I watched this on YouTube. There are times when you just are watching them watch it. It's not even up on the screen.
Stylebender is a tall man.
You know your girl Zhang's fighting too, Joanna.
Look at these two bad motherfuckers. This is gonna be good.
Fast forward till they start dancing, so I don't have to hear Brian's commentary.
Hoodie, sit down.
The girl said, "Hoodie, sit down." Now remember, Stylebender asked for this fight. He didn't have to grant Yoel Romero a title shot.
He asked for it because he wanted to prove that he can
baddest.
take out the best wrestler in the league too.
This couldn't be more boring.
This must be what it feels like to be a waitress at a Buffalo Wild Wings.
You're right. It's just standing there waiting to go. Do you want
another pitcher?
Another. Okay, great. I'll cook it.
Okay, you just hearing them just talking about the fight.
And then they're like, "Hey, what are you doing, sweetheart? What time you get off? Huh? Hey, get off after you get off? Huh? All right, yeah, just whatever."
Sir, would you like another pitcher of beer? Oh, no, look at my buddy's dick, though. He just texted it to me. Check out this guy's cock.
Oh, look at this picture of my buddy's dick.
He'll show it to you right now. Do you want to show her your dick?
Which, by the way, to be fair, it can be funny, but it's like these guys are obsessed with dicks. Like, don't ever, like, we would do shit. You look back in the day, that was a pretty standard thing. Would be to grab your buddy's phone and take a picture of your dick and make it its home screen. Like that shit used to be funny back in the day.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah, but
it's not an extended bit. It's a 2-second thing, and then you go watch when he comes back. The reaction we were.
Yeah, but I didn't monetize a podcast around it.
When it wasn't a 20-minute bit.
That's
either.
your mistake.
It's just you come back, you sit down, and you're like, "Let me check my." Hey, come on! And you're like, "All right, that was me. That was pretty good."
At one point, Bryan Callen is talking about taking an acting class, and he explains why he stayed in the acting class for so long.
I stayed in the acting class for at least 7 more years because I can't tear myself away from a train wreck.
That's probably pretty fun.
Oh, dude,
it's also painfully
spectacular insanity that you see in an acting class.
So what he's trying to say is that there were so many boneheads in this acting class that it was so much fun for him. He stayed in it for 7 years for the goof. And I have a theory. I think that sounds stupid. I think maybe he just needed more help with acting. I think that's why he was in the acting class for 7 years. I don't think he was very good at it.
Bryan Callen's had more failed pilots than Al Qaeda, so it's not. He's a dude that's been given shot after shot after shot after Mad TV. He really has.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. He could be. Don't get me wrong. He could probably be a good neighbor in a TV show or the wacky guy, but he's not. He's never going to be a dude you're going to build anything around.
I think he stayed in acting class for 7 years just so that he could have a 7-year run in acting at anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't last as long in Mad TV, but you know what? I could take the class for 7 years.
That class is on his IMDb page.
Yeah, you take an acting class so that when you're not working and people go, "Oh, you're an actor? What do you do?" You go, "I'm doing some theater right now."
Right.
Back to my roots, doing a lot of theater, and it's like, "Oh, you're going to class. Got it."
Bryan Callen actually sums up the show very well with this statement.
Dude. The whole thing is bad, dude.
He really is just, there's no point to this thing at all. I also wanted to point out, he knows it's a bad show because I wrote this down too, 44 minutes in. And Bryan Callen and Brendan Schaub are talking about UFC. Bryan Callen yawns while he's talking. Not while somebody else is. He's literally like, "Yeah, I was watching that last week, man. And the way Masvidal goes, there's a punch. It's like, it's insane." I'm like, "You're the one talking. You're the one making a point."
I think we should point out, too, that this video that we're talking about has 250,000 views on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible. Nobody who's involved in it even wants to be on it. And yet, for some reason, it's probably the Joe Rogan effect, there are 200,000 plus people who are tuning into this, appointment viewing for them. Oh, there's a new Fighter and the Kid out. I got to see what they have to say.
I don't
Nothing.
even understand it either, because if you read the comments of most of their videos, it's mostly people just making fun of Brendan, saying he's an idiot, saying he's stupid. If you go to their subreddit, it's people making fun of them, saying he's stupid. So I really am curious who all these people are.
They exist, though. You're going to be dealing with them now when you put this episode up. You're going to be dealing with them because you're going to get 1,000 comments from people you've never seen before going, "You're still crush enough puss. Maybe you try playing some organized sports, faggot." And you're like, that's your big comeback. Like, these guys suck. I'm gonna make fun of them. They look like man children. The one guy can't even see his kids. They wear put sneakers on the table. They're closeted homosexuals. And your big comeback is, "You don't crush enough puss and go to frat parties." And it's like, all right, I guess.
I know, but fucking Bryan, you're 50. You shouldn't be going to frat parties either. No, but that's true, guys. When we started goofing on them a little bit, was all the comments were like, "You guys are fucking idiots. You guys just don't have enough sex." That's what it is. I bet you guys. So you're gonna get this. You guys are you're virgin. You're in your mother's basement.
Wait, is this Stuttering John we're talking about, or Fighter and the Kid?
This is these guys. There's a lot of jock comebacks. You don't play enough sports. That'll be one of the things.
Yeah.
You don't take MMA. You would never be able to say this shit to their face.
Because they've heard us making fun of them, and they've heard us making fun of them, and they've talked about us before.
Okay.
These guys just sitting there in their mother's basement.
Virgins, mother's basement.
They need to get laid.
So fucking.
These guys just need to get laid. All they do is sit there and just make fun of other people. I'm like, that's your fucking show too. That's 90% of shows on the internet.
Yeah,
man.
we just happen to be good at it, Bryan and Brendan. If you hear this, you're just jealous.
And I want to point out that whole thing where they're like the cool jocks and, they're crushing all the puss. They unironically fawn over a male model.
This has been going viral right now because John C. Reilly's son is actually a model. Check this out. That's his son.
Oh my God. His son is fine.
Yeah. His son's super.
But people just found out that he looks this good and they're wondering how that's possible.
What's the,
That's a good looking
He
fella.
has the same eyes as his dad and lips.
And that's fine if you're gay. It's fine to fawn over a male model. I just don't understand why this is content for jocks. I don't understand that.
I don't understand how you can't just the thing is too is like the way they handle it all is so absolutely gay. Like there's a way to do this and go, "Hey, do you know John C. Reilly's kid is a model?" And you pull up a picture and you go, "Wow, yeah, that's a good looking kid. Look at that guy. Who would have thought that Dewey Cox would have, had a good looking kid?" And then you move on. But the way they do it, they're just kind of like, "Oh, yeah. Oh, John C. Reilly's son. I'll fucking put his dick in my mouth right now." And you're like, calm down. Calm the fuck down.
The way you just said it, though, is actually funny. They're not even trying to make jokes. They've not, at one point in this show, do they try to make a joke. It's not even trying to be entertaining.
No, it's not. And the thing is with them, what bothers, I was going to say what bothers me, there's one thing, but one of the many things that bothers me about them is the way that they, if you're gonna be comedians, you're gonna do this, and the way that everybody treats Brendan with kid gloves in the comedy community. And there's plenty of people that don't like him but put up with him because of the Rogan stuff. You want to be on Rogan, you want to do the Comedy Store when you're out there. Brendan specifically, this is a Brendan trait, has any fucking respect for other comedians that aren't in his circle. Like when the Ari Shaffir thing happened, with the Kobe Ari Shaffir thing happened, he just fucking ripped apart Ari, said he was fucking disappointed that Ari was a piece of shit. When the Shane Gillis thing happened, when Shane Gillis was kicked off of SNL, fired from SNL, he says, "Oh, the worst thing about the Shane Gillis podcast is that it's not funny." And I'm like, dude, these fucking people, whether you like them or not, are so much funnier than you are. And everybody has to be careful, and no one can make fun of Rogan's little pet project, Brendan Schaub. But Schaub just fucking goes after every other comic that he doesn't think it's funny. Like he doesn't even give the same respect that's forced upon other people.
It's odd too, because Stuttering John has this same problem. When you have to tell people that you're funny all the time, funny people never announce to the world how funny they are. Other people tell them.
Look, if you don't believe I'm funny, let's just check this out. I got this clip here from 95. Watch me real quick when I make Robin laugh.
All right, before we get into that, because I do have to get into that, I have one more clip that I want to play. And this is Brendan Schaub. He can't read. They're trying to do an ad read. That's what this whole show is for, is just, can we fill up 40 minutes so we can get to this ad read, please? And he just sucks.
Visit their website and read their testimonials, all right? Visit.
Uh-oh, retard alert. Retard alert, class.
You having a stroke in the middle of a live read?
I've heard Opie give better live reads than that.
Dude, if we were doing a live read and Royce started talking like that suddenly, I'd be looking around for a defibrillator. Like, is he okay? I think he might be. I'm going to call the paramedics. He might be dying.
All right, I am going to play one more clip. Wow. I apologize. I can't help myself.
Wow,
so much of this show is them watching the internet. At one point, I can't even remember what they're talking about, like Spielberg's daughter is getting into porn or something. So they just start watching porn.
All right, well, there's that.
Is that Lisa Turtle bottom right? Oh, no, sorry.
That is not.
Sorry, thought it was.
There's a lot of...
Colin Farrell sex tape? He had one too? No.
That looks like him, though.
I don't know, dude. I don't think so.
We're just straight watching porn.
I know, we're just watching porn now.
What else we got?
They're just on RedTube scrolling around during their show.
It feels like there's no prep for this show.
I think there might be no prep.
I'm not even being a dick. Like, there's a difference between, having some kind of prep and then also having like me and Royce. When we prep for the show, we prep lightly. It's not. We're not like we come up with a couple topics a day, a couple videos a day. We send them back and forth, and we kind of get an idea the day before. Like, all right, this is kind of what we're going to talk about. And then but I don't think they do any. I think they both show up with like whatever they saw, and they haven't. Like, I don't think they talk outside of the show, so they just kind of show up and go, "Yo, check out this video I found of this dude sucking this other dude's dick. Isn't that awesome?" Like, what are you watching when we're not? You know what I mean? Like, at least Royce and I will say to each other, like, "Hey, here's a clip of Stuttering John making a mistake," or here's a clip of one of these lol cows we make fun.
Well, this
with
is
them. It's just like they don't talk, and then they just show up to work and they're like, "So you seen any good dick sucking videos lately, B?"